The views expressed on this Turnbuckle Tabloid live stream or Turnbuckle Tabloid podcast episode do not reflect the views, thoughts, or opinions of the Rageworks brand, including the Rageworks podcast network, Rageworks content partners, advertisers, and affiliates. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
This is the absolute Chris Cage, and you are listening to Turnbuckle Tabloid.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff.
I've been a collector of toys, models, comic books, and such for a good better half of my life. Ever since I was a kid, I would collect baseball cards, comic books, video games. Hell, I have an extensive video game console collection now. I've always wanted to find an outlet outside of magazines where I can bond with other individuals who know the life of being a collector and how to maintain and find certain figurines and action figures and such. And where do I get that at? Right here at RageWorksNetwork.com, baby. That's right. Toys and Text. The podcast that gives you all things connected to the world of hobbyists who collect the G.I. Joes, the Transformers, the Funko Pops, the WWE figures, and much, much more. Also, they discuss technology, the updates that are occurring with your iPhone or your Samsung or your Android, new computers, and other forms of technology that are advancing. The boss himself, Rich, and multitude of guests stop by and discuss what's happening in the world of technology and collections. So, guys, check out Toys and Text at RageWorksNetwork.com. That's RageWorksNetwork.com, or where you can get podcasts. I'm a fan. As a matter of fact, someone just rang my door right now, and I'm hoping it's my new Funko Pop. Check out the family at Toys and Text.
It's the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Woo! When I'm not styling and profiling, I'm listening to them boys on Turnbuckle Tabloid. Follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. And make sure you listen to them on all them podcasting outlets like iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, and everything you listen to your podcast. Woo!
Turnbuckle Tabloid cutting a promo. I was waiting a couple of days until we got some kind of clarity about what's going on in the world of WWE. If you guys have your head under a rock, or you've been living in another time warp, in another quantum zone, rumors were swirling around that the WWE had been sold to a Saudi Arabian public investment company. And what led up to this possibility was the fact that Stephanie McMahon stepped down as the co-CEO and co-chairperson of the company. And there was a lot going around, a lot of talks, and it seems as though the wrestling media, or those who feel as though or believe that they are in the know, really didn't know so much shit, because apparently their assumptions or their speculations came from a Reddit forum, which was supposedly from a insider within the company who felt that once Stephanie stepped down, that measures were being taken in place for the company to be taken by the Saudis because, well, you know how Saudis look at women. They're not going to be told to be doing anything by a woman. So, with that being said, it led me to think about certain things about a Saudi deal. Because to me, the whole Saudi deal thing will be fishy and, in my opinion, probably a bad deal to do anyway. But let me just put things together piece by piece. First of all, when I saw the rumor mill starting to spin after the Stephanie resignation letter that was posted on social media, first thing that came to mind was like, she can't work with her father. And that's automatic, regardless of what you guys think about the whole family dynamic and such like that. She's been working with him for so long, in case may be, but there's a different element that boils down to when now you're working with the company, your husband works with the company, and you see how your father basically treats your husband. I don't see that they could work together fully, knowing that Vince probably doesn't have as much respect for Triple H as many would believe he does. I don't think that he does have any form of it, because as I spoke with the boss Rich himself, Rich made a mention and he brought out a good observation that people who aren't able to do the job due to health or certain concerns, he may look at them as weak. And when Triple H had that spell, his health crisis, Vince might have looked at him as if he was weak. Look how he took to having to step down and resign and retire. Look what he did. He couldn't fucking sit around for too long. Now, granted, it could have been a plan or agenda by the executive board that said, listen, step down for now, let the thing blow over. When you come back, you get to do what you want to do. And I can see that occur. I also can see the fact that Stephanie being put in place for her father while he was gone was just to say that they have a McMahon at the helm. Although it was in a co-chair position, there was a McMahon there. And once Vince comes back, she can go home. I can see that as well. That's a strategic business move. I could see that. The other aspect that I'm looking at is the idea that the company was in line to be sold for years. Like, he already had it in his mind. And people are questioning, well, why would he do that? Why wouldn't he just give it back to the family? Why wouldn't he just step down and make the money and let the company grow? Because Vince has already in his mind said that nobody gave the company to me. My father did not give the company to me. I had to buy the company. I had to give him a percentage of money to buy WWF, and then set up a deal to where whatever money I make through a certain amount of years, I have to give to my father to pay off the rest of the purchase. And this is why he needed WrestleMania to be the be all end all event when it came out. He needed that, because if it didn't succeed, WWF would have folded. So in his mind, it's like, why would I give this to my family? They didn't give anything to me. And there's also the belief that the possibility that he doesn't believe that they can run the company properly. Nick Khan comes in. He's an outside individual from entertainment who's brought in by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. They know each other well. He was a recommendation to Vince, seeing as though that the business that that Nick Khan had done in Hollywood as well as he's done in the sports world, and figured that he'll be a good fit with Vince. So the purchase of the company, well, the sale of the company was already in the cards for a few years now. The one aspect of sales and who should be on the do not do business list was the Saudis. I said I wouldn't mind if it was sold to any other company, but not the Saudis. And what happens? The first rumor mill that goes out is the Saudis. I just saw a post by, I believe it was Disco Inferno. I'm not sure whether or not he posted it or somebody copy and pasted. I have to look it up to see if that's actually him. But in any case, it was more of in the line of people who are having issues or having problems with the Saudis purchasing WWE, the possibility of purchasing the WWE, don't seem to have an issue with the Saudis being involved with video games. And I believe that's apples and oranges. I don't see the same connection. Reason why? Because there's more of a compassion for the individuals that work in WWE. There's more of a connection with the people who work there and the possibility of these people losing their jobs because of the Saudi business handlings and their beliefs and such. For instance, if the Saudis would buy the WWE, that woman's division is done. I mean, let's be real. You know how that culture looks at women. Oh, okay, yeah, it is from him. Glenn Gilbarty puts, it's funny to see wrestling community ignorance on what the PRF actually has money invested in already. Billions. So the people who would buy WWE, the Saudis, do not look kindly on women. Let's look at individuals in the company who are gay. Gone. Let's look at the people who are of a different religion and don't take kindly to the Saudi practices and the history and the, I don't know, controversial incidents that occurred. You know, certain individuals are killed or have gone missing. I'm just saying. So I don't think that a lot of people within that company would feel comfortable to do business with Saudi public investors. So much so that not even, you're talking about WWE wrestlers or staff or whatever the case may be, or shareholders. We're talking about a country that's not even investing in the Saudis' golf league, the Live Association. They don't have a network. There's talks that if WWE is bought by the Saudis, that's going to kill any network deals they have. You don't think Comcast will feel scorned by the fact that they were bought out by Comcast being NBC, where USA and like I said, NBC and Sci-Fi and all those companies? You don't think that they'll feel scorned that the fact that the company was, they'll be okay with it being sold to an American-based company, but to a Saudi company, you think that they wouldn't yank their fucking network deal? If this would have been if the rumors were true and this would occur, I believe that not only would you see a mass exodus occurring, which is still possible. I'm not saying that it's not off the table. I don't think that I'm not. It's not far fetched that Vince would do this, because I believe he would. But you would see not only a mass exodus for the roster, but I think you see a mass exodus for staffing, and I think that networks and advertisers will pull away. I don't see it happening. You probably have to watch WWE on Al Jazeera or some shit like that. To be honest, I don't see it happening. It's a bad business move. Money wise, it's lucrative as fuck. Vince could walk away scot free. Happy as a clam. Be a billionaire on top of a billionaire. But as for the company, be dead in the water. I think it's business suicide. People were already jumping off of buildings, believe that this occurred. Me, I was sitting here going, unless this deal was being hashed out for about a year, I didn't believe that it was a done deal. There was already talks that JP Morgan just got on board to help assist with the sale. This is a multi-billion-dollar company. It's not like selling a used car to your neighbor. You're not just changing titles and license plates. This is a multi-billion-dollar company with shareholders, with people. Now they're saying that the company might go private. Okay, even still, you still have people within the board, within the company, that has to green light certain aspects of this, because, like I said, there is going to be issues with how to distribute the product. A wrestling company with no network, it's dead. It's dead. And what are you going to say? We could watch it on YouTube. You don't get the same ads. You don't get the same revenue. It's not the same. Stuff that you could get away in one aspect, you won't be able to get away with on YouTube or anywhere else. Sure, networks are able to handcuff you to certain practices, standards and practices, but what helps you through it is the advertising. You'll get the money from it. Commercials, merchandise. Like I mentioned with the whole thing about video games, I just read an article where the Saudi private investment company had their ties to. They have monies in Nintendo, Activision, Blizzard, Take-Two, and certain other companies. They want to start their own franchises, right? My thought process is this. It's not affecting the livelihoods of people we care about and invested in. On the outside, they're investors with money, but they're not in the offices programming games, creating games. They're just ensuring that you're buying the consoles or you're buying the software. They're not creating it. And it's not individuals who we've invested many years in, who's put their bodies on the line for us, to now be bought by a company, bought by a culture that doesn't really respect the roster or the people that work in that company because of their way of living. So yes, I do believe that there is a difference when it comes to me playing fucking Call of Duty as opposed to me fucking buying a Kevin Owens shirt that's now owned by said culture who may or may not agree with Kevin Owens' life or Sami Zayn's life or Sonya Deville's life. It's a difference. I still believe that the opportunities for the WWE to be bought by a more domestic company, I still think the best look would be Comcast, or if not, I don't see Netflix because Netflix is losing money hand over fist. Amazon's a possibility. I would not believe that they're out of the running. It's a long shot. Amazon just bought into NFL. It was a little rough in the beginning, but I think once they get used to how to put things together, I think that the NFL will be okay there. Another one was Disney. Disney is the only way I would see it with Disney is because of the opportunities merchandise wise of what you can do with that. They do these days bend the line, especially when it comes to the MCU, with a little bit more adult orientated stuff. I'm not saying that they'll go full of rated R, but it is a PG program, so I can see that there. It just would be funny to see the WWE logo with fucking Mickey ears on it. There's other possibilities like Fox. Fox might buy into it as well. But I don't, and I don't see it with the Saudis, but I'll say as of this recording, I'll say it. And as soon as the fucking episode goes up, it's WWE fucking Dubai or some shit like that. I don't know. I could see it just happening. I don't know. I think that it's not a good look for them if they did that, because you're basically, I believe you'll be committing business suicide. I also had been saying for the longest time that Triple H should take his money and run, take all his shares, sell them, get them out the way, say bye-bye. Get a couple of his people the same way. If this does occur, get all his shares, say bye-bye, cut his losses and leave. And get a couple of people, get a conglomerate, come together, even reach out to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and start your own promotion. I know it's going to be tough. It's not an easy road to do, but you have name, you have recognition, you have experience, you have a background, you have a resume that I know a lot of networks will probably throw you money. Hell, Dick Ebersol or whoever the hell's running fucking Comcast and NBC or whatever, I know they would easily do business with him. I'm just saying, you've already had a history with it. And if you have The Rock involved as well, who's done it, I don't see where that'll be a problem. I forgot what was the ground floor in which Tony Khan came in with AEW, but if you got to start grassroots at 15, 20 mil, 25 mil, 30 mil, I think that's pretty easy for a startup company. I really do. I think that would be an exciting venture for him, and he wouldn't have to worry about the bullshit. Lastly, people are talking about, what Vince did seems to be unethical, and the fact that he's got a lawsuit right now from a shareholder disputing his basically his corporate takeover, which it's not a corporate takeover here. He still had 81% of the shares. He still had in his investment in it. And what he did was basically kick the door open and said, "I'm back, bitches." And the executive board was prepared for it. They knew it. I just don't understand that how they wanted you gone when all the shit was happening. They wanted you gone unanimously. Now he comes back in, they unanimously place him back on the board with two other individuals. Got rid of three, including his daughter, and come back unanimously. This is what I'm saying. This was already in the cards. This wasn't something that people are making it seem as though like he did a coup. He didn't do a coup. This was already in the cards. Steph already knew she was going to be the face until he came back. Once he came back, all right, I could go back home now. I didn't understand how that occurred. I'm really intrigued to see how this is going to play out. I am, because it's going to be one or two things for me. Depending on the company who buys it, if it is the Saudis, I'm going to say that it's over for them. It's over for WWE. I don't see that company surviving once that occurs. If it's if it's the rest of the field, it'll be interesting. But the one thing I do have to say is just keep Vince away from fucking creative. Keep him away from creative. I do not need to see R-Truth dancing back into a title shot race with fucking Roman Reigns or some shit like that. Or fart jokes. It's been running smoothly. The board was happy. The roster was happy. The backstage crew was happy. Everybody they were rejuvenated once Vince stepped down. And once the old man comes back into the fucking fold, you already you shook up the morale. And I know that's what it is. I know because this could happen at any fucking job. You get to, you work for a certain department, you're like, oh, fucking Tom Steele is my fucking boss, and all of a sudden Tom Steele has been on vacation, on extended vacation for 6 months, and it's like, oh man, this place has been running fucking great. Thank God Steele isn't here. We've been able to get the job done, get the OTs that we want. We've been able to work as a team again. And Steele comes back next week. Fuck! Yeah. Yeah. It happens anywhere, fam. And just because they're wrestlers doesn't mean it doesn't happen to them either. It's going to be interesting. Like I said, I have full confidence that once this episode airs, there's going to be fucking shakings and breaking news. WWE's been sold. I don't think so. I hope not, because we still like I said, it's a multi-billion-dollar company. It just doesn't happen overnight. This is one of those processes that will. If it happens within a month, maybe two, I could see that. But I don't think it's going to happen like tomorrow, unless this was a long strategic plan that was in place for about a year. I don't see that happening, but I digress. Guys, when we come back, we're going to have much to talk about with our boy JV Lewis from St. Louis. He stops by to ringing the new year, his thoughts about what is upcoming, his thoughts about what happened in 2022, and we make our own predictions about what's going to happen. And disregard my prediction that I made. Just disregard it, because with these new rumblings, I don't see this shit happening. But because right now, with what's occurring with WWE, I'm telling you right now, signing anybody new now that Vince is in the building, nothing's gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. Nobody's gonna sign new, because they're trying. You're not gonna sign anyone new if you're trying to sell the place. You're not gonna buy new furniture if you're just trying to sell your condo. It's not gonna happen unless you're moving into another place. It's not gonna happen. So any new incoming is not gonna happen. But don't go anywhere, guys. Stick around. We got much to talk about with our boy JV Lewis from St. Louis. Stick around, and talk to you guys in a sec.
Conan, check out Turnbuckle Tabloid, man. Check out the wrestling podcast from the homie, keeping it 5150 from New York City.
With both milestones kicking in a new year, and as well as breaking through to the 400s, got to bring in my brother and man, JV Lewis for St. Louis stopping by. And I wanted to, before we start, personally thank him for all the love and support he's been giving us here at Turnbuckle Tabloid. The man's been out there sharing, listening, being a part of the show, being a large contributor to what we do here. And I wanted to personally thank you for all that, man. It's been a great run for us here for 400 episodes, and you're greatly a part of that, sir.
Yeah, man, appreciate it, man. You know, you put out the great content. You know, I've been, on board since, my take radio, and then, and I remember, when you was a writer and everything, and then you came out with, regular season sportscast, and then Turnbuckle Tabloid was just a segment, and then it became what it is now, man. So I'm saying, man, like happy for all your success, man. Numbers steady growing.
It's always growing, man. People don't understand the grind that we go through. JV has his YouTube page and such that constantly putting up content, and people don't understand, man, that as a creator, you do it for the love, because if you in it for the money, you ain't gonna see shit.
Yeah, that's why you see people come and go. They think that you just gonna take off right off the back, and as soon as they don't, from podcast to whatever type of creative platform, if you in it to get paid and it don't happen right away, they out the game and don't realize it takes work, and it starts to become a job for people, And it's like, hell, I already got a job, what I'm saying? Exactly. It takes up a lot of my time. Like, this stuff is like for fun. If something happens, so be it, but it's fun to me. That's why I do it. I'm not trying to let it become a job.
How many times you have to, you get that face when people know that you're a content creator, and are you getting paid for that? It's almost like the same face that you get when somebody tells you, you still watch wrestling?
Yeah, that's the first thing they ask, or they want to know about, and I always tell people, man, there's very few people who just kick off right off the front, you know what I'm saying? That's why all the people who I started watching, one thing I noticed about all of them, they've been doing this a long time. Yeah. And two, I don't know, I don't even know if they even have regular jobs, but it's the content they put out consistently, just it's almost like they put out multiple videos a day, and it's the time that you got to have to do that, it's I don't have that type of time. I just want to put out a couple of videos a week, you know what I'm saying, and I'm good. Like I said, man, most of the time at my job, man, I'm working from 5 to 2:30, 5 to 3:30, Saturdays, 5 a.m. to 11, and then it's outside of that, it's you try to relax, chill, kick it with my girl, spend time with family, Xbox, basketball, TV, you know what I'm saying? It's trying to fit all that stuff in. And it's oh man, I ain't trying to have this, man. If it got to that point, then so be it. But for right now, that's not what it is.
Yeah, I always tell people the same thing. I try to explain to them. I said, listen, when I put that mic on and I'm able to talk, even if it's by myself or with guys like you or the rest of the crew that comes in, I use that time as my time. You know, it's not, it's away from cashing in them bills and cranking in those hours at work. This is my time. And, you know, the benefits come with it when you get people who enjoy, you know, you sitting around shooting the shit and, you just giving your opinions and stuff, and people want to be interactive with that. That's where I get it at. You know, if this was a few years ago and, you know, if it was something that I would have put the whole career mindedness into it, I'd have been like, maybe I can do this. And then, realize that the bills have to get paid. It's like, you can't, there's a lot of shit you got to do for this, man. People don't understand that. But, once again, thank you for your part here on Turnbuckle Tabloid, man. It's a 400 episode plus run, and it wouldn't be where it's at without guys like you. And to say the least, man, it's been a long journey, man. 2022 was it was a year for wrestling that we did not see what could have happened. And, you know, as many times as we would want to predict what's going to happen, us being the quote unquote smart marks, we pretty much have an idea of, what we would see in wrestling, because, you know, sometimes it just becomes, wash, rinse and repeat. We've seen it all the time, but 2022 was one where we saw some surprising shit happen. What was your biggest thing that occurred for you in 2022?
Like for me, hands down, it was Vince getting up out of there, man. Like, man, I always tell people, you know, when people who really not into wrestling, they ask me about wrestling, and I always compare Vince to Al Davis with the Raiders. Like, he is going to die doing wrestling. You know, he's not going to go away. It had to be something drastic for him to get out of there. And it's like, we like, Vince, can you please just step back, man? And for the fact that that's something then we didn't think it was going to be like such a big deal, became even bigger and bigger, to the fact that, you know, you see the tweets about Vince McMahon is stepping down, and it's like, what? Because it was like earlier that year, we were just talking about how Triple H was like, because I remember seeing the little memes with the Mortal Kombat thing, is, you know, you go up to a next challenge, like they had like Nick Khan taking down Stephanie, taking down Triple H,
right?
You know, and it's like, man, Triple H was supposed to be that guy. Then here we are months later, he is actually the guy now, and the product is so much better for it. Obviously, he's going to have some misses, but man, the fact that watching Monday Night Raw, it's not a chore anymore. You can actually watch the whole show. It's not background noise now, you know. It's like you can watch, well, SmackDown kind of always been like my favorite, you know, out of the two. And the fact that it's one direction now, you know. NXT is like somewhat back to what it was. They got a 2.0 out of her and went back to the NXT. So it's like, I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing, but nothing can top the Vince stepping down. Nothing.
Yeah, that was one for the ages, because a lot of us would sit there and believe, like you said, that the old man would have his firm grip on the steering wheel and would drive this motherfucker off the cliff like Thelma and Louise. But it takes some payment to some pussy to take a guy out of the chair for a little bit, man.
And that's why I'm undefeated.
Yeah, and you know, it's one of those things that you didn't really believe that would occur, and even with him just showboating and still dancing in front of the camera, like, you know, I'm not going anywhere, I'm still here. And so finally,
Mm-hmm.
that day come, and it came as a birthday gift because it happened right on my birthday when it happened. Step down. Perfect. And for the longest time, we all sat there and was wondering for some time, like, what would it be like with him gone? And we saw a glimpse of it with right after SummerSlam. We saw the change happen. I think for me, the biggest thing that occurred besides the Vince thing was the fact that AEW imploded, and it was I can't say too much of a shock because, you know, when you get your certain individuals in place to formulate a company, and many of these individuals have no idea what the exact temperament formula you need to put in a wrestling company together. When you have people who sit there and just says, "Hey, I've been in the business for some time. I could be part of the booking. Hey, I got some money. I could be part of putting this together." It's always like one of these premises and ideas that I always get when I hear people say that best coaches come from former players, and I'm like, not really. That doesn't always happen. No.
Right.
There's always a certain vision that a lot of people think that they have and they don't. And I think the inside turmoil that was occurring in AEW, which we saw rise to the top with the all out scrum, and which CM Punk just basically let it happen. I say it's a large fumble that occurred with that company, because you had possibly the biggest star in the business come back to your promotion, come back to wrestling with your promotion, and that's basically just selling seats off the bat. Got you your first $1 million gates. Ratings were going through the roof. You were slowly but surely beginning to throw rocks at the throne, and then you hear about the bullshit that happened. It's just a large chunk that just basically rocked your foundation, and and in many cases you could say that the tops allowed it to happen.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, because Tony wanted to be everybody's friend. You know, well, pretty much almost everybody, and then the fact that the way he keep protecting Sammy Punk ass, you know, after all the stuff he done got into, you know, and it's just like you keep holding people's hand or you don't step out in front of anything, and then it was one thing after another, and then the Punk and Bucks and Kenny thing just pretty much just blew everything out the water. Then not to mention the whole like Thunder Rose, Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker stuff, and it's like, man, get some control over there, man. You know, it's like, where was all that? You know, what was all that bravado in your chest out that you had for Big Swole before all this stuff? You in the background now. You know, you can't do nothing about it. You know, so I was like, can that happen to a better person? You know, and I'm like, can that happen? Because, oh man, I was loving that, because you know, man, how much I hate Tony Khan. You know, how much, you know, like I say, thoughts and prayers to his mother and everything. But as far as that dude, I don't respect that dude at all, man. I'm like, the fact that he had Regal there, I'm like, man, can you like give Regal some power? Not Jericho. Can you give Regal some power? Can you bring some other people in to take some, like, you know, to take some pressure off him so he could just sit back, man? Can you just sit back and just provide the money and let the wrestling people, you know, do everything? And this is what people said. I know you man, you've been one of the biggest like critics, but fair critics, man. And I know people be hating you for it, but it's like you could have started this coming, man. You know, it's a lot of WCW vibes, you know what I'm saying, with AEW, man. When you letting the cats, you know, when you letting your homies, you know what I'm saying, run the foundation.
I've often said that I I didn't want to see a company fail. I wanted to see success. I want to see wrestlers work. You know, you want to see these guys go out there and be the best that they can be for a large audience. Even if the audience is just cult minded and such, and have this mindset of this is the be all end all because of how open it is for, you know, indie guys to come and take it to the next level. But you tend to forget that with that idea as well, you're hurting them and you're hurting the business by coddling them and also letting other people in the back run the machine, and you just basically are just throwing money at it. And this is not an assessment just for AEW. We could say this for the longest about how WWE was run when Vince was on the flip side. Although AEW was giving the fans what they want, Vince wasn't doing it for years. Like, he fucking just, he just said, just put the product out. Let's get the merchandise out. Let's make sure we sell tickets. And that's it. He never really cared. Now you just see this shift that occurred where, Tony now looks like the dark side of wrestling, and Triple H and that crew over there is looking like the fan favorites. Who would have thought that WWE in 2022 would possibly be in contention of being promotion of the year?
Oh man, and I mean, do you think your boy will actually give it to him though? As much as he got his head up, you know what I'm saying? AEW ass and stuff.
Are you kidding me? If he would do that, if Uncle Dave and the crew over there would actually do that, it would be basically them finally getting their lips off of fucking Tony's ass and finding new air to breathe. Because as of right now, as much as they've been throwing shade at AEW, I still don't see them not giving Tony quote unquote Booker of the Year. It's just ridiculous. It's because it's once again they're gonna sit there and say that, well, you know, he opened the forbidden door. Look at the top notch matches that he's put together, and give so much excuses for it. And then the caveat would also be, well, you know, Triple H only had the promotion for half a year, so you can't really give him that. So right. I don't see that happen. And who even gives credence to that shit anyway? Hey, we do a goofy ass fucking award show on this end as well, but I mean, it's just for fucking shits and giggles. At the end of the day, you know, the awards are just in the eye of the viewer, pretty much. But speaking of that, with you know, your thoughts, please, like, who was in your mind like the top male wrestler of the year so far, like in 2020?
Oh, it's Roman. Oh, what a man, it's Roman. You know, like, even though he's starting to like work less of a schedule, it's like when he does show up, it's kind of like how people used to say like how Brock should be. Like, he should be an attraction. He shouldn't show up like every week, you know. And it's like whenever he show up, it's a big deal, you know. He like let the boys, you know, do whatever. Then he shows out. But it's like, man, with the whole storyline and everything, man, I think Roman just hands down been a wrestler of the year.
I would have to say Roman is there. But with Roman as well, and everybody's like, well, everybody, you know, people talk about Brock and how he had a lighter schedule. He's not out there. But the thing with Brock and Roman is that Roman's there almost every week. Even though he's not wrestling, his presence is just there. And I would have laughed 2, 3, 4 years ago, me actually sitting here saying that Roman Reigns is the top guy legitimately. Like, it's crazy that, you know, they found a way to finally make him connect with the wrestling fan base. And we liked him in the Shield. They try to push him in our face and say, you're gonna like this or not. and we've
Right.
resisted. We resisted for the longest. He went away. He went through his treatment for his leukemia. We had a soft spot for him for that. He came back during the pandemic, and once they turned him heel and he became this entity of higher than what the business is, we actually grew to like the fucker. And then we got what we wanted. We got him and his cousins together. Then you had his solo, and then where the fuck this Sami Zayn thing came was just astounding to launch what can be from here on out. I thought it was it was a great run for him this year. But the other guy that I have to say that actually you think about as well, and you contemplate. I know everybody loved Moxley and his run. No, everybody had such great feelings and progression with him. He pretty much took AEW and carried it on his back through the times. I know everybody was loving Punk, although that he had his foils with injuries, and then what happened later on down the line. But I thought this year, who could be up there in an argument as well? The young man himself, MJF, man, shit. The kid, just regardless of what you say, everybody's sitting there talking about, well, you're pretty much hearing him more than seeing him. And it's like, yeah, but when you do see him wrestle, can you not say that the kid fucking puts on a match?
Right. Yeah, the man just stepped up. People even say that would be the knock on him, is his wrestling.
Mm.
The man has stepped his game up, because the promo is going to be there no matter what, And remember, you had all them questions, when he had the one promo about he might be out and, fire him and stuff like that. And I was like, man, when are they going to finally put the belt on this man, And I'm glad they did it. And it wasn't just, just to get the belt off Moxley so he could go on vacation, whatever. Because Moxley had to keep coming back because of everything that was going on. It was like they put the belt on him because they want him, because he's supposed to be one of the four pillars, and they want this man to be the face of the company. And also with 2024 coming up, so it's like, why not now? Why not have a young face? Because like I said, you had the, Hangman Page, and it was kind of but let's go ahead and go a different route, and I like what I see.
Yeah, you see MJF. You could tell he's in the gym, he's working out, he's got a little bit more cut. His stellar matches he had with Punk, his like you mentioned, the authenticity on the mic when he's blowing it up and letting Tony Khan know you're fucking Mark. He finally gets to that crossword where everybody's believing whether or not are they going to turn him face. What's the reason for it? His back and forth with Regal. The kid was building compelling storylines, and it almost was forgotten how good he could be in that time period he was gone. The only thing I said was a hiccup was his return during the casino the casino match, and I thought it was unnecessary. I thought the reveal should have happened later on down the line, but other than that, I think that MJF is a strong contender for, in my opinion, like a wrestler of 2022. And on the female side, who do you have on your side that could say dominated the 22s?
I know you had like obviously Bianca is one. Trying to think on the AEW side. Man, I just hated the whole. One thing I hated the whole way Thunder Rosa thing went. I'm still feel the same way about that. Because it seemed to me that they don't really care about nobody with the belt. That they got it, you know. Um, I mean, how long did Tony have the belt?
Maybe 2 months, 3, maybe, if that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hasn't been it hasn't been really
Yeah.
anything sparkling. Hasn't been anything
Mhm.
stellar. I can say maybe no. Yeah, I believe it was around All Out around that time. She should have had it around that time.
Mhm.
But for for me, we could always put Bianca up there. Bailey made her return later on, and she's been showcasing well. Without having to hear about the soap opera that's going on with the Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker, and all that stuff going on over there.
Mhm.
Of course, I'm just aesthetically she looks great, but as a wrestler she's trash. Jade Gargill, I'm not a fan of. I'm still waiting for her to get over that curve. I really think that AEW is not the place for her to sharpen her skills. I don't care how many times people are going to tell me that Bryan Danielson's been working with her. It's not catching.
Mhm.
I don't see it. And if you keep putting her in these Goldberg style matches, you're not going to elevate her. I think the underdog for me, and I have to say it would have been an honorary mention for us on the show, but low key during the year for people who weren't paying attention was Masha Slamovich had a great fucking year, man.
Oh yeah.
Masha had a great fucking year. I mean, solid matches with Jordan Grace. You had her up and down the East and West Coast knocking it down. I remember seeing her at HOG tearing it up. She's probably been the star that we were seeing a year and a half ago, and she's cracking through the ceiling. I'm kind of surprised that the big names aren't ready to grab for her yet.
Yeah. You just like it's almost like TNA, like almost Impact is like the startup. You know what I'm saying? It's like the development league, and then one of the other companies pick them up.
Mm.
And then Impact they just plug in somebody else. That's one thing they good at. They lose people, they plug somebody else in, and they don't miss a step for what they do. So I definitely got like respect for them for that. I mean, because I like one of my things for 2022 was, I mean, I just like, man, I want people to give Impact a trial. Like, obviously people gonna go to AEW. You're gonna be on Dark or Elevation, whatever. You know, be lucky enough if you get a win. But I mean, I know you showcased and everything, but I would like to see more people give Impact. I would like to see somebody like a Trish Adora who was killing it for years on the Indies. Like, go try Impact. You've had a couple appearances, on AEW, but you lose and then you don't get any offense in. It's like her, a Queen Amanada. Like people like that. Like try Impact. You know what I'm saying? Like give them a look. Obviously though, like they're probably like in other like areas, they get some shine, but it's like everybody can't go to the E or go to AEW. Especially AEW, they packed enough as it is. I love, what I'm saying, like what they doing. What I really like what they doing with Willow, because Willow was one of them people before she actually became a part of AEW. Like she was going there, she was losing, then she started getting some wins. Now, what I'm saying, she's a fan favorite, which I'm not surprised about.
Right.
But it's like I just wish other people would give Impact a shot, because I mean, you would get the time, they usually keep all the women there in the storyline.
Mm. Yeah, I feel the same way when it comes to the progression that's occurred with NXT recently with the women. The women in NXT is all they're also looking to be. They look more ready this past year for elevation. We saw when they brought Roxy in, and Roxanne is there. We saw what happened with Mandy and how she went from just a girl with a pretty face to actually be, some may have even equated her transition like Trish Stratus, that they basically put her on that plateau.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of like Gigi Dolan and the other women in the roster who are showing that they want to get in the ring and work and not just be a pretty face. And that's what I've always admired about Impact. That Impact, they went and had the knockouts out there wrestle. You're a big fan of Tasha Steele, and she's elevated her game this past year as well. So I can say that there has been some glowing aspects, and I get a lot of shit because people think that I'm misogynistic when it comes to female wrestling, and it's like, no, I don't. I'm not. I enjoy female wrestling when they wrestle, when it's just not being out there. I'm just a pretty face with my ass cheeks out. I want to see you wrestle, so it's always great to see Bianca or Shayna Baszler, or hell, Raquel Rodriguez. She's even stepped up. Like you're seeing that these women are getting in the game. What's been like we've been giving the accolades of 2022, but what has been the biggest disappointment for the past year? Like, what was it that really just you felt that promotions dropped the ball with?
I'm trying to think. It's. I guess it's just like with certain wrestlers that like, what are we doing here? I like, until recently, I would say AEW handling the ROH. I say that has been a big disappointment. That more than anything, because it's kind of like we went from a kind of a wait and see approach to like, well, let's see what's gonna happen, to like, man, these motherfuckers playing games, man. And then all the ROH people, they all optimistic, you know what I'm saying? Like, well, Tony, he's invested, and it's like, well, is it gonna be? Are we waiting on all this stuff about them getting a network and all this? Then come to find out that, correct me if I'm wrong, that it's just gonna be on the like the RH honor club thing.
Yeah,
it's just like the shows are just gonna be. It's just gonna be on that.
Right.
That's just gonna be what it is, which is okay, because I mean, I had that at one point. You know what I mean? To watch, you know what I'm saying? Ring of Honor, and to get merch and stuff like that. But it's like, when you purchase a company like that, I mean, hell, WWE even though it wasn't the ECW like we know and love, they at least put the brand on TV,
right?
And I'm like, couldn't you do YouTube? I mean, like you already doing? Because I've heard people say, well, just get rid of Dark and Elevation and just have ROH straight up, or you can't make room on TBS. I mean, what the hell else TBS is showing these days? Like, you telling me that, like, I mean, because I heard they're not like really doing original content shows no more,
right?
And it's like, what is it, just reruns or stuff? Like, you can't make a Saturday like old school WCW at 4:45 or whatever, Saturday or something for RH. Like, come on, man. And it's like, let's get this rolling, man. So some of this talent, you know what I'm saying, you got all these people. Then until recently, like, okay, we doing another transition, getting all the ROH titles on other people. You know, I mean, even though I really like who got the belts now, you know, but still, it's like, okay, you got the all age belts off the original all age people, the AEW people. Now you just did another transition. So I'm like, okay, cool. Now let's get this ball rolling. It's like, okay, Honor Club. I'm disappointed, man.
Yeah, I had a feeling that that's the way they were going to go with it, because I don't think the plans or the pitches that Tony Khan and Mega and them had over there were being bought or sold by outside contributors. You know, there were talks of possibly HBO Max picking it up, or maybe Paramount. The Discovery streaming site, I think they ran cold with the possibility because of the content, but I was okay with the Honor Club streaming site taking it in, but not for the price tag. I'm not paying $9.99 for it. It's not worth it. I said, I get Paramount. I mean, I get Peacock, and although it's a shitty site, but damn, I paid $10. I got a bunch of content that I get from there from NBC and Peacock, and then plus I get the whole WWE network. It's a 2-for-1 and all that. So I'm good with that whole
right,
with that setup. I'm not gonna pay
$10. I think that's how much it was when it was out.
Right.
But it's like, they could have did they could have combined it with something else.
Right. I think he didn't lower the price because he's trying to recoup what he believed what he bought the company for and the archives. I think that was also inflated. I think they tried to make it seem like it was larger than what it was, but I don't think it is. For me, the biggest disappointment in 2022 was WWE's mishandling of the Naomi and Sasha situation. I was going to say Ring of Honor as well, but the Sasha and Naomi situation, the mishandling of it was just atrocious. It was just the epitome of the last of the Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis era. It just goes to prove that that company really had no idea what they had going for them at the time. They're very careless on handling that situation. I said it was in twofold because I don't think Sasha and Naomi should have handled it that way. I think they should have handled business, and if they felt like dropping it on Tuesday, the following day you did that. You don't walk out on your crew like that. You don't walk out on your fellow locker mates like that. You don't do that. That's just not how you do business. But you do what you got to do. And then for Vince and especially Laurinaitis, who's been known to be a real fucking ass when it comes to not only just women wrestlers, but all of them and all sexes are accountable. I think they really fucked up in layman's terms. They really fucked up on dealing with that. Now you got Sasha, who's a free agent. She's going to be in Japan now. I'm still not sold on her being this big grab. I think that she should have found a way to make amends with the company, but I also think that she's also with her mindset saying that she's leaving her options open to do what she feels like she's doing. And hey, more power to her. They're independent contractors. That's what they're supposed to do.
It's like they've been quote living their best life since they've been gone.
Right.
And it's like, I'm just happy for them, seeing them all over the place, just doing different things, stuff that, Sasha was kind of doing that, but to be really doing that. And for me, I'm just happy for Naomi finally to be, doing other stuff that she been word behind the scenes, is that they kind of held her back on doing outside stuff. And you seeing, I was like, oh, sometimes I be wondering, it's funny, to me, I think how AEW, they really go out their way to bring in the black rapper, the black celebrity and everything. And it's like WWE is like, we want the black artists, we want the black notoriety, but it's like they not looking for it. Like you see constantly Naomi trends and all these celebrities like, yo, what's up with her? You know, I want to see it, you know, and it's like, why y'all not taking advantage of this opportunity? You know how many extra eyes of casual fans you could turn into fans if you bring them in.
Right.
And the fact that what's going on outside the ring with her and with us right now lets you know, like, what you had. That's why I think, man, that if Triple H had more power, man, he would have handled that situation completely differently, man.
Yeah,
I think he would have. He would have understood, and if Stephanie really, you know what I'm saying, could have got in there like I think she could have, man, I think that whole thing would have been different, man.
Yeah, I think that at the time right now, with the flexibility they've been giving the wrestlers a little bit more. We saw Nakamura at Noah this past week.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing Carl Anderson show up. He'll be at Wrestle Kingdom defending his title there. Bianca Belair just signed an exclusive exclusive contract with a agency. I think that if they would have been patient a little bit, and I'm speaking with Naomi and Sasha, you would have possibly seen a possibility of that occurring where they could have made a return. But I think Sasha already had a mindset; she was ready to go. Naomi's contract was already was going up. I think also the mindset with like a Naomi is like, you know, yeah, she's living her best life right now, but she's always been centralized in WWE. Let's see her branch out and see what she can do elsewhere. Sasha was big in the indies before she got into the PC and with the WWE. She already got the taste of it. Now she's got the celebrity status. Now she's gonna branch out, and you know, more power to them.
I would like to see like what Naomi would do outside of WWE, because I know Lindsay Dorado had hit her up a while back and was like, "Hey, what's up? Come down to Mexico."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So it's like, I mean, it was just interesting, like, what would they like do in other companies or even, you know, on the indie scene.
Right.
You know? So the possibilities are like limitless right now. And it's like, can we stop with I'm tired of seeing the Sasha and all elite, you know what I'm saying, banners and stuff like that. I'm not believing that until I see it. I just don't see it, man. So stop it. You can't get everybody. Stop it.
Hey, listen, I'm still going with the premise that 2023 she's gonna be the reason why the whole Bow Wow and Jade Cargill thing happens. He's gonna be the one that brings her in. I'm still predicting that, even if it's for a one-off. I can see that.
Yeah, that's how you post that on Facebook. I was like, yo, that would be so crazy.
I'm still going with it
if that happened.
But with that, I'm gonna say that 2022 had started off like a year in which I was like, and not to say that I was gonna move away from wrestling, but I was just frustrated with it because it was just so predictable, so paint by numbers. I saw an elevation in possible interest again after WrestleMania. The whole Punk thing in AEW, the reemergence of the indies, I was really getting a little bit more excited during, you know, the spring towards the summertime. And then Vince goes, you're like, shit, what the fuck? I mentioned the implosion happens in AEW, no more Punk. Punk is basically out. And then we're starting to see how that's resulting with AEW not getting the ratings or the numbers that they usually would get. But I think right now my love for wrestling is still there. Now we're entering 2023. Any bold predictions on 2023 that you see happening?
I think like one thing I'm looking forward to. I'm really interested in seeing like, because I know I said this a lot last year that when because obviously AEW can't sign everybody. At the time, WWE was saying we're not really signing like no indie stars no more before the change. It's like I really was thinking like the indies is going to blow up again like it was, you know what I'm saying, like years ago before everybody started getting signed. So I'm still like on that mindset that that's one of the main things that's going to go where people are going to get to the point where, you know what, we don't have to go to the E, we don't have to go to AEW, we can just establish the indie scene, back in the day, like the, pro wrestling gorillas, and then other companies will start rising, I'm hoping for like companies like Shimmer to come back. They pretty much like ain't really been around since the pandemic, but just seeing other companies step up, and I think sometime this year we're gonna finally see. Like I still don't know who that is. I know everybody's saying Cody, but like I think this is the year that somebody finally beats Roman.
Yeah, somebody's. We're gonna have to give Roman some time off. As much as Moxley wanted his time off for wrestling once a week, maybe twice a week. Ooh, I mean, what a rigorous schedule that is. But we're gonna have to see not the fall of the bloodline, but we're gonna have to humble them a little bit. And I think that occurs. I think their babyface run would actually be something that people would ride off with as well. I know. Technically there's no such thing as heels or faces anymore, whatever the case may be. But I think they have, current stars like Roman and the Usos in there, but Solo Sikoa is looking like a monster over there. They booking him like a champ, and Sammy's getting that whole Daniel Bryan vibe going on over there. So that's a faction right there that could have a couple of more years in the gas for them. For me, a bold prediction. I have, wouldn't be surprised if AEW snatches up some big stars just for some one-off matches. Talking about possibility of maybe a Goldberg, signing. I wouldn't be surprised by that. I think they're going to snatch up Kota Ibushi. I see that happening. Make the Golden Lovers a tag team again. Him and Omega. Forbidden Door, we're going to see more of a hodgepodge of matches that are going to be more dream fulfilled for certain people. And my boldest prediction would be that when the smoke clears, that we might see a return of Punk in WWE. I see that. I see that happening because after listening to Dax Hardwood's podcast and how he was fired up for wrestling, I think that there's going to be some bridges mended between he and WWE. If they give him the his flexible schedule that he'll like, there's a lot of talent there that he hasn't been in the ring with or he'll like to do some work with. I would not be surprised if Punk comes back and he brings FTR with him. I
could definitely see FTR.
Yeah.
So I definitely could see them going. Like, yeah, that dude, it's like that low, because like I've always been like, man, it ain't never happening, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, and then I'm like, with Triple H in charge, is that even possible? Because I know that was really the main person that he had. I mean, obviously that was a long time ago, but it's like, Punk like an elephant, he don't forget nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and if that dude, like, man, you'll be the first one I hit up. You know what I'm saying? When that happens, you'll be the first one I hit up. If I'm like, dude, he called it. I didn't think it was gonna happen, but like that man Jay called it.
That's one of those that you're calling your shot, Babe Ruth home run kind of thing. It's a long shot to happen, but when it does, it'll be the whole shit moment of fucking 2023. But once again, brother, I want to thank you for your time, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
I want to thank you for your time once again. Much success for you in 2023. We keep cranking it out, man. That's all it is. As gentlemen of the ilk that we are, with our standard and age, doing this as long as we have, and as well as we getting up in them years for us.
Oh
to
yeah,
still,
you know, we gotta keep the balance, man.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many, like I like the new cats that's coming up, man, but some of them, man, like some of these cats gotta go, man. The JD and NYs and dudes like that, man. Nah, they're not the type of cats we need in the game for real.
Listen, and like certain people who I do know, and I've rubbed, you know, elbows with them at certain events and such, and I look and I go, okay, that's just okay. I can't. I've gone past the point of where I have to just look at motherfuckers as competition. I just look at them as other podcasters and such. But I also look at greatness and hard work. And you, my friend, are one of those individuals that keep cranking it out, do it as much as you do, and you do it for the love of it. And that's what keeps me going here at Turnbuckle Tabloid. And as always, thanks for the love, and love you, my guy. Thank you for your support, and let everybody know where they can get you at, and where they can find out our man JV Lewis, what he's cranking out.
Oh man, no doubt, man. You know, everything right back at you, man. You know, you love anything, man. You keep being you, man. You keep being authentic, man. That's one of the things, man, that I've always been a fan of, man. Even if we disagreed on something, man, we can actually talk it out and still be cool. Like I said, like a lot of these cats, man, just be on some nonsense, man, and be yelling and be like, man, you don't like what I like? Man, I'm gonna block you, man. We ain't fooling with each other no more. Like, what? Like, really? Like, dude, like, whatever, man. But yeah, man, y'all can catch me on Instagram and Twitter, you know, Snapchat, JV Lewis77, my YouTube channel, JV Lewis. Twitch channel also, JV Lewis. You know, I'm playing on Xbox Series X now, so I'm like really into that. You know, and I thought Twitter was going somewhere. Don't look like it's not, but if you even mess with Hive, I'm there too, JV Lewis 77, and that's where y'all can catch me.
No TikToks? We're not on the TikTok yet?
Yeah, yeah. You still know, I haven't really been on there. I'm mostly just watching people's videos more than doing stuff. Sometimes I'll be wanting to do stuff, but I just haven't got into it. But like, yeah, I'm still there also. So maybe I'll like get the urge and start doing stuff regularly again. But most of the time, I'm just watching everybody else stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was saying to him when he was on your TikToks. I was always laughing because at least you were bringing the entertainment outside of what we usually do. You have me going for a minute, so I figured that you would use that more of an entryway to start bringing your content in there as well. But
yeah, I mean that is a good idea, you know. So maybe that is something I'll look into.
Brother, but once again, thanks again for your time, and much love for the new year. Blessings for you and the family, and thanks again, man.
All right, man. No doubt, man. Yeah, you be safe out here, man. It's crazy out here.
Yes, sir. As you know. Later. Guys, when the I will usually say when we come back, but yeah, this is usually the wrap up of the show. But once again, thanks again for JV Lewis of St. Louis stopping in. You heard where you could get that man at, where you can get all his socials and such. Be sure you check him out. The guy's doing great content on YouTube. He does fun retrospective reviews of wrestling as well as video games and such. He's a good man. He's been with the team for a long time, and I appreciate his work. So, guys, as always, thank you for checking in on Turnbuckle Tabloid. Get us at the socials, get us at the podcasting outlets, and as always, check out RageWorks at the RageWorks family at RageWorks.net and at RageWorksNetwork.com. Out of here, guys. Enjoying the new year, guys. Love ya. Laters.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff.
Turnbuckle Tabloid.